Hey guys, Eric with Blue Line Fishing. Welcome back to the channel. Your time's important to me as always. And what we're going to do in today's time is we're going to continue to work on this bass boat to John boat build. See if we can get some more stuff on the back deck done. Going to try and get supports put underneath it, and also going to try and get the hatch cut and the framing around the hatch. And maybe if we get lucky and we have enough time before it gets too hot, because they're forecasting about 100 degrees here today, literally, we're going to see if we can maybe get the front deck cut too. Stick around. I think you're going to like it. Okay guys, here's what we got done today, okay? Finally got the back deck as far as just the construction part on it done. Got the hatch cut and got the underside supports done as well. A couple other crossbeam supports, and I'll show you here real quick. Come in a little closer. Okay guys, here's the hatch, and you know right now this is a really tight fit. I know I'm gonna have to leave probably here about 1/8 of an inch for the carpet on each side, on these three sides here. But what I'm gonna do is I'll attach a piano hinge, I believe is what I'm gonna use along in here. So there's my hatch lid, and left a kind of a bigger area right here so I can, if I want to hook a trolling motor or something up in the back, even though I'm going to run this boat off a foot controlled trolling motor for the most part. Put 2 support beams in here. The reason I did that is because just to support my weight or anybody else that's in the back, because I just couldn't do it without it. Use 1x3s all the way around as a lip. And then I'll show you the bottom section. Put a little carpet on here so it didn't rub against the metal, and hopefully that's not, if it's not going to scrape or scratch, then it's going to prohibit it from having some rust down the road with that wood scraping up against it. Okay guys, here's the underside of the back deck, and these supports were on last time I showed you guys that. This time the lip around it is, like I said, 1x3s. Use the stainless steel screws to secure that, and then 2x4s here to put these support posts in to give the whole back deck support. Put a carpet on these just because it's going to be touching the metal to hopefully keep it from not scraping and scratching and prohibit some of the rust that you know is going to happen because the boat's going to get wet, obviously. But like I say, got the support post in here, got the framing done. Everything fits in there nicely, and then the lid here goes on, and we'll have to get the lid finished up here for too long as far as getting a piano hinge on it, but I'm going to do all that after we get the carpeting done. Okay, next section of the build here, we're going to start on the front deck, taking some measurements and try and get kind of a template going with some cardboard on that. You know, in the last segment, if you watched it, that first video, got the back deck done, got the braces put in that were horizontal braces, got the post put in for some reinforcement underneath it, got the hatch cut, the hatch lid cut on it. It's ready for a hinge just after we carpet, and then we also got the flooring done with the foam board underneath it too. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and try and start some measurements to get this front deck done. Well, we have the measurements for the casting deck now. The next thing is going to be to cut it out. That's kind of the part that I'm dreading, just because for me, it's, you know, it's an angle cut. It's going to be kind of difficult because, like I say, I'm not a carpenter, but I don't want to start burning through a bunch of lumber trying to get it right. So I'm going to try and use that cardboard template. We're going to pick it up here in the next day or so. The next segment, that is, for that casting deck, because right now the heat index here is about 107 to 110. All right, another day, another segment here. We got the casting deck cut last night, and I'll show you some of that. Kind of had to do a shim piece on the side here, and I'll show you that as well, because it was pretty darn difficult for me, at least. I had to get my son over here, who's actually going to be a carpenter, to help me out a little bit. Somebody smarter than me to figure out how to make this cut work. But I'll show you guys what we got done and what we're going to do today, hopefully. Okay guys, here's the front deck. Got it done last night as far as just the kind of the rough cut on it. I know, like up here and stuff, that, you know, I left enough room for some carpet, but it's definitely going to have a little more trimming and stuff like that. Of course, it'll get sanded and such, but this is the part here that absolutely drove me crazy. So this is the shim piece, and the reason I had to do this was, you know, the particle board here, not the particle board, but the plywood here only comes in 4x8, so 48 inches wide. It's 8 feet long. Definitely long enough, you know, to reach from my back seat here where we put this in. up to the bow. But the problem is, you know, obviously that width isn't wide enough, because this is 50.5 inches from where I need it to be side to side. So have to do this shim piece, and what I'll do is kind of in the back section, did some metal mend pieces in between, threw some screws through the side here to get it to hold. Once I get it in carpet, you'll never be able to tell it. But like I say, I had to get my son over here last night because it definitely took somebody smarter than me to figure it out. But let's get going on this. We'll see if we can get some framing done. Is what we want to get done this evening, and hopefully maybe get the hatch cover cut. I don't know, but the big thing is to see if we can get this framing on the casting deck done tonight. So here's part of the framing that I've got done thus far. These are going to be my two kind of side support beams here. Here and here, the two 2x4s, and then up front, really kind of puzzled over how I wanted to anchor these front. Could have actually used 2x4 kind of like joist hangers here, and drilled straight into to the front bitch and put them down on that. But I just didn't know over time if those screws that were in the hangers would start to wear out and give, and cause the front of the deck to sag or even collapse over time. So what we decided to do was, and I'll show you, put over here a little bit, right here, decided to cut this notch out. So we've got a notch right here, kind of at about I don't know, maybe a 10-degree angle, something like that, and decided to notch that out and use that to support more of the weight of these 2x4s up here. And then when we put it in here, what we've got is this beam right here. I may even anchor it down right here with a metal mend piece across here, but it gives that support. But I've got support now all the way across the front of the bow, rather than just on 2 points like here and here. I've got it going all the way across to kind of evenly distribute some of the weight, some of the pressure on it. Whether that's a good idea or not, I don't know, but I'm going to give it a try and see how that works out. So here is the framing and what I did. Showed you guys earlier how we put this piece in here and angled it and notched the corners out to get more of this cross beam support from the 2x4 on there, evenly distribute some of the weight. Here is what I used for the frame for the 24 by 14 hatch. I used the 2x4s that are going to be my cross beams on both sides for support on the deck, so it'll support my weight and some of the other gear that I'll have up there. And then the lip on each side is just a 1x2, to just something a little more for those screws going around the hatch lid to bite into. And don't have this down yet because I'm going to end up pulling this back out to water seal it. Put me a mend piece here to keep metal mend piece just to keep this down in place, because it was wanting to slide down a little bit. So screw that into the rib there, and I'll end up using my stainless steel screws in there. And then coming back, like I say, on the back side of the deck. I'll show you what I did there as well. Okay, here is the bottom side of the deck here. Earlier I talked about the box I made out of 2x4s. I ended up painting all this just to blend in with the carpet, if you can see underneath there. But this is the box that will be the support for the seat post, and what all 6 screws in the seat post will go down into. So that should be super solid. And then these are just some more small support pieces that actually go, walk it right over right here. One here and one down there to give a little more support to the sides of the sides of the casting deck here, because I was a little bit worried when I stepped there. It didn't really sag that bad, but over time I just didn't want it to get weak. End up stepping there because another 2x4 comes down right through here. I didn't want it to get weak and end up snapping on me. Okay, here is the deck pretty much complete. It's just ready for carpet and a little bit more sanding and such. But I'll show you what I did here. In the earlier segment there, I showed you guys I made basically a frame, a box for this seat post to be able to fit on. I'll grab it real quick. But it's traced out to that, and once I flip it over, it should fit on there perfect. But it's a super strong box made out of 2x4s and 3-inch screws that will end up being the support for the seat, for that leaner seat I'm going to put in. And then I'll show you under the hood here, if you will, in a second, how I did the hatch right here. Like I said, I bought one of the prefabbed hatch lids, and this is actually 24 inches by 14 inches. Went with the big one so I wouldn't have any problems getting stuff in and out. Not screwed down or anything yet, obviously, because I have to be able to put my carpet in. The support beams coming across here that are 2x4s are my lip for this side, and going across here is 1x2s. And okay, that is going to wrap up part 2 in this series here. Got the back deck done, got the casting deck done, got the framing on it done as well, hatch put in, which the hatch's not bolted down yet, but I mean, it's how we're going to have it. So in the next part here, what we're going to start doing is water sealing both decks and the flooring. And then after the water seal, we're going to start carpeting it. And then we'll probably start putting in the seat posts and the seats and just go from there. Lots more to come. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this. Like I say, I'm not a fabricator, a builder, or anything by any stretch of the imagination. This is not a how-to video. I've just really enjoyed doing this for you guys, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it. So be sure to stick around and check out part 3 coming at you pretty soon here.